Hello, my friends. Perlo Wisdom here from RNJ Media. And Puck in Deep is what my new show is going to be coming up when the season starts. You got to be looking out for it. If you like in-depth analysis and discussion on all NHL teams, you'll like Puck in Deep. And today I'm going to be looking at the Las Vegas Golden Knights and projecting how they may do for the season, how their roster shapes up. We're going to get into the Marner stuff, of course, going over to Vegas and all things Vegas. It's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that right now. All right. So also you can find me at the Ice Guys. I go on that show Monday to Wednesdays. It was voted best sports podcast in North America last year, and I'm fortunate enough to be part of it. You will be able to get my picks at Perlo's NHL POW, as well as I'm starting a Discord where you'll be able to purchase my premium picks, which they do really well. That's why I get to be on things like the Ice Guys, stuff like that. We do well. So it's fun. We enjoy it. Doesn't cost all that much money. But if you just enjoy the content and want to be part of the show, be ready. I'll be sending out the link and you can be part of it. Subscribe right here and like the video as well. That will let me know that you're enjoying this fine content, my friends. All right, let's look at Vegas. Okay, we're going to go from we're going to look through the whole roster from first to fourth line and all three defensive units. First we have Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and of course Mitch Marner. I'll start off with the big one, Mitchell Marner. Mitch Marner comes over from the Toronto Maple Leafs, where they gave up Roy, the centerman from their third line center from last year in the deal, so they can make room for cap space. This is going to be interesting, and because I know there's a lot of Toronto fans that have really decimated his character in Toronto. He really just was like a scapegoat. In fact, Matthews said that himself, that Toronto's known for their scapegoating, and I believe Mitchell Marner was scapegoated. I think he got a bad rap there in Toronto. This is a guy who this is the only player that I have seen, and I use JFresh Analytics. It's the best there. I said it. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't pay me to say that. I've used a lot of analytical models, and his is the best. His has helped my sports handicapping a great deal. He is one of the few players, I think he might be the only player who has, when you're looking at competition, there's a competition model. He gets 100%, meaning he played against the toughest competition in the league. And that pans out. In Toronto, they had him playing a shutdown role. He got most of the defensive starts. Played PK, unreal amount of PK, like top 3 in the league, I think, for forwards. And there was a stat that showed that out of the top 10 players that played against elite competition last year, 9 of them were defensemen, which is normal, and 1 was Mitch Marner, and he was number 5. That's insane. So he's coming over to Vegas, put up 102 points last year, played in a shutdown role, did so pretty darn good. He about average defensively in that role. But if he gets easier deployment, and I think he will as we go through this, I think Mitch Marner's going to have one heck of a year. It's tough to play top PK minutes against the other team's top line constantly in the regular season. They never rested Mitch Marner last year. The previous years, I thought he had equal, but he still had high. It was always very high competition, and he was always played in a fairly defensive role and played a lot of PK time. So now he doesn't have to do that. He's probably going to get less PK time. He's probably going to get he's playing against strong competition, but I don't think as strong. So I think Mitch Marner is going to have a fantastic year. He's very good defensively. He's a great three zone player, incredible passer, known for his passing skills, and this is going to help this line an awful lot because we're going to move over to Jack Eichel, who has been taking the brunt of that here in Vegas. And really, although he should have had more help, he really was given heavy deployment as well. He played against much of the top competition, was also used in a shutdown role, and still managed 94 points in 77 games. He's an excellent three-zone defensive player. Elite. Almost elite. Sorry, about above average. But considering the competition he plays against, above average may just well be elite, to tell you the honest truth. Ivan Barbashev on the left side there spiked up big last year defensively. Not known for his three-zone defensive play, but Cassidy had him playing really well. He's a player that likes to grind it out in the corners. He gets pucks out to his teammates, and that's why they really love him. He wasn't an option when you were talking about a Marner trade, and there was a lot of people thinking that they were going to trade Barbashev to make cap room for the year, and it sounds like Vegas unequivocally said no. He is off the table. Don't even bother. They love this guy. And I think this is a great combination. You got Barbashev that can bring it out to Jack Eichel, who is also a very good playmaker and can score. I think the only thing with this line is who's going to shoot. From what I understand, they're going to be asking Mitch Marner to shoot more. We'll see if that happens because he sometimes has difficulty doing that. He gets in his zone of passing because he's so damn good at it. But Jack Eichel has been known to score too. He's had 35 goals, I believe, one year. No reason why he can't shoot more. So I imagine they're going to be asked to shoot more. Barbashev gets the puck out. Good line. Very good line. Next we have Riley Smith, William Karlsson, and Mark Stone. I'll start off with Mark Stone here. I mean, the guy's an elite three-zone defensive player. You're going to hear a lot of this as I talk about this team. Problem is injuries have been an issue. Last year he was spent by the time the playoffs came. Apparently had some very significant injuries and really didn't look good at all. From what I understand, he was fighting through a lot of stuff in the regular season as well, and that's been something that's been a bit of a problem now for 2 to 3 years in a row. So I'm a little concerned for Mark Stone, but if he's healthy, it's just one of the most intelligent players in the league. He's never out of position. He knows exactly how to get the most out of his skill level. Great passer as well. A lot of passers on this team. Great passer as well. Doesn't skate very well, but he's so smart. He just knows when to play offense when he needs to. He knows how to set up his teammates. So he doesn't, if he is behind the play a little bit with the puck, he knows where to put it. He's just a great player. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I absolutely gush over Mark Stone. Awesome player. Then you put him with William Karlsson. I'll say it again. Not an elite, but an excellent second line three-zone defense playing player. All of them. I mean, he's just fantastic that way. He can put up some points as well. I mean, again, the one thing that I get a little bit concerned here is like all of these players are pretty much passers. A lot of passing. They could use a straight shooter, and we will see a couple coming up here. But apparently they're looking to give Riley Smith a shot up there. Something about in the water in Vegas. Riley Smith just plays better in Vegas. He went to the Rangers and then went to Pittsburgh, and he really didn't do all that well. He was basically non-existent defensively. I just don't know if his heart was in it, but he came back to Vegas, went right back to being, guess what, a good three-zone defensive player that put up some points. It can help you in a lot of ways. You can play right wing and left wing. It's got a lot of heart. All of these players I'm talking about too, and I know people are going to say no to Mitchell Marner, but they have a lot of heart. Jack Eichel has got a lot of heart for sure, and Barbashev, a lot of heart. One thing I will say about this top six, besides Mark Stone, who can be very physical, uh, it's not the most physical group in the world. That would be one thing I'd say with this top six, is they might be able to use some physicality. Barbashev has some physicality to his game. He can use his body to get pucks out of the corner, but most of the time he does it with his stick and smarts. All of these players are just very smart players. Brandon Saad, another underrated player, came over from St. Louis, and he just had life. He looked like he had a lot more life. Again, good three zone defensive player, can score when he needs to. He's got a lot. He can drive play too, and that's another thing I haven't mentioned with all of these players. They're good play drivers offensively. They are very good at getting the puck out of the zone. Probably because they're very good three zone defensively. So they're in their spots when they need to, and they know how to get the puck going the other way. And Brendan Saad is that type of player as well. He's getting up there. I believe he's like 33 now. He's not what he once was, but he's still good enough for this third line role for sure. Thomas Hurdle up the middle in a third line role is absolutely awesome. I love him in this spot if they do decide to play him here, because he's just better suited for a third line scoring role than I find for a second line scoring role. And like I said, Cassidy loves his three zone defensive players, three zone aware, always thinking defense everywhere they go, even when they're producing offense. Thomas Hurdle, he gets kind of caught out of places when he gets up against higher competition. But if you play him in a role like this, I think he'll really thrive. And he's just a really good player. This is a fantastic player to have on your third line. Now we have Pavel Dorofeyev, and I just have a feeling, as much as I understand having him on this line, I don't know if you're going to be able to keep him on this line. He's just too good of a shooter. And again, an awesome three-zone defensive player. I haven't been able to say that about every single player on a team besides the Florida Panthers. Like, I would even say even more so here. All of these players are just very intelligent. Pavel Dorofeyev, I have a feeling, is actually going to play up in that Stone spot with Carlson. And shoot from there. I think that's where he's going to play. He can play right wing and left wing. From what I saw of him, he's a better right winger than a left winger. And I just have a feeling that Mark Stone might be taking a step back here. Maybe take the minutes back a bit. He can play with Hurdle and Saad, pass to Hurdle. I think that's where it's going to end up. But they have Pavel Dorofeyev here. Just a great overall player again. All of them. Every single player in this top nine is awesome that way. Now, for the fourth line, you got Brett Howden, Colton Sisson, and Keegan Colasar. Just a decent fourth line. Mostly offensive possession led. This is a line that they'll probably use to keep offensive possession in the offensive zone a lot. They'll get a lot of offensive time. They have skills. They can drive a line if they need to, but they're not fantastic. It's not like the best fourth line in the world, but it's not too shabby when you consider that top nine. And if you deploy them to just keep possession in the offensive zone in certain times of the game, when you need to give your big guys a break, I think this is suffice for sure. Look at the defense now. Braden McNabb. Okay, before I get into the defense, I want to mention something. Last year, I was wondering what happened to Vegas after the trade deadline. They just didn't. It's just like the steam came right out of them. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I almost took Minnesota to beat them in the first round, but I didn't. I took Vegas. But I did take Edmonton because there was something missing. They didn't have the confidence that a good team should have. And now I know why. Because Peter Angelo was basically the Walking Dead last year. And I think that they were really it really disappointed when the the team didn't go get some help on defense to help Peter Angelo out. They did go out and get Riley Smith, which was good, but I think they really wanted some help on defense. And Stone was falling apart at the same time. So I think it took the wind out of their sails psychologically. But this year, a healthy Stone, Peter Angelo's not there. They did go get a defenseman to kind of help him out and replace him. The question is this defense going to be good enough? Braden McNabb, he's now 35 years old. Just awesome defensive defenseman. Really good defensive defenseman. He also can drive play really well. Drive offense, and a lot people will say, well, he's not an offensive defenseman. You can be a defensive defenseman and still drive offense well. He can skate. He can skate the puck out of the zone. He can make that first pass out of the zone really well. He's a very smart player. Yeah, when he gets into the offensive zone, he doesn't really have all the skills that you would like to play off pure offensive zone offense, but he's very good at when the puck is going out of the zone, finding ways to get it out in the right places to drive offense forward. A lot of that is a help from their forwards too, who obviously helped them out an awful lot. Shea Theodore. Okay, Shea Theodore has never been really known for his defensive play, but I think Cassidy's influence has really helped out here. I remember at the end of when they lost to Vegas, I saw Cassidy's face, and the look on his face was like, if only, if only. I felt like that. He tried his best to get the mental state correct in the group, but he felt like he kind of failed. This year, I think it's going to change, and I think Cassidy's system really took effect with some players, one of them being Riley, and one of them being Shea Theodore. Shea Theodore went up quite a bit last year in his defensive awareness in this defensive game. He's always going to be a great passer out of the zone. He's a great passer in the offensive zone. Play him on the power play. I mean, that's always going to be the case. But somehow he connected with Shea to really focus on not overplaying his offense, which he has a tendency to do, and not pinching too much, not skating the puck out of the zone when players aren't ready. That's a big thing Shea Theodore used to do. He was way better in his decision making. It might be because he's just growing as a player. He's 30 years old now, and he's just learning. The defensive part of the game in the NHL is not easy to adjust to. That's the reason why young defensemen usually take a while to figure it out. Could be just that, or it could be Cassidy, or it could be a little bit of both. But this is a good first pair. It's not, especially for when you have the type of players you have on offense. You don't need a great defense because you're going to get so much help from your forwards that it can really help players if they have limitations on defense. Florida does that. Ekblad looks like he's way better than he is. He's probably an average first line defenseman, but he looks a lot better because he gets so much protection and help from his forwards. And look at Jones when he went from Chicago to Florida. That helped a lot. Playing in Chicago, he was left alone a lot. Goes to Florida and everybody's where they're supposed to be, and all of a sudden he looks like he's a way better player than he even is, and certainly a way better player when he was in Chicago, when actually he was probably the same player. Noah Hannafin on the second line with Zach Whitecloud. I'll start with Zach Whitecloud. Zach Whitecloud doesn't really get the highest competition hasn't in his career, and now they're giving him a step up at 29 years old. He's going to be playing against tougher competition now. He's usually about 28-30% competition-wise, which means he's usually he usually is deployed in against third and fourth line roles as much as he possibly can. I know you can't totally avoid playing against elite competition, but as of so far in his career, he has been used at times when like for instance, say the first line is definitely gassed and they know they won't be out for a couple minutes, they'll throw White Cloud in and whoever his partner is in. But this year, he's going to be taking a step up, and I personally think he's going to do very well because he has done really well defensively against um, weaker competition, and I think it's time for him to step up, and I think he's going to take it. He's actually another guy that's a good play driver. He's like a poor man's McNabb. So I'm not totally sold on that. So I would say they could be a little light in this spot possibly if I'm incorrect about it. But I think he'll handle it well. Noah Hannafin, again, that was another one I wanted to mention. Noah Hannafin has always been an amazing play driver. He's a great skater. He knows how to skate the puck out of the zone. But much like Theodore, sometimes he would do so at times when he wasn't supposed to. And that was a big one. He'd be skating the puck out of the zone and his forwards were not ready. So he'd end up having to dump it in, or he'd get caught by a forward because he was like hesitating. He would do that quite often. And skaters generally do that because that's their skill. So they're going to skate. However, last year, again, and I do think this is Cassidy's influence, he really learned how to do that a lot better. Always had a good first pass out of the zone. I just think last year was one of the best seasons he's had. And I don't think that's changing here. So I think he always was an excellent second pair defenseman, but I really think it's actually gone up a lot. And he's also in that age group of 28, 29, when defensemen really start putting it all together. So excellent defenseman. Then they bring in Jeremy Lauzon, and that'll be interesting. Jeremy Lauzon comes over from Nashville, where he actually played against elite competition there in Nashville. They played him as a shutdown guy against other teams' top lines. Now, he didn't do very well, but he did have the experience of it. But that being said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens as he takes his third pair role. I think this is much better for him. He's a defensive defenseman, can't really do much with the puck. But if he's playing against more fourth line, third line role players and stuff like that who also can't do much with the puck, I think he's in a pretty good spot. He's 6'3", 225. By the way, this whole defense in general, 6'4", 214 for McNabb, 6'2", 196 for Theodore, who's their offensive guy, 6'3", 216 for Hannafin, 6'2", 218 for White Cloud. This is a huge defense, which is going to help them a lot in the playoffs, which they had this when they won the cup, and they still have it. It's obviously a philosophy that if you're going to play with them, you better be big. And then you have Lauzon, 6'3", 225. This boy can handle himself. So, yeah, I don't mind it at all. Then you have Caden Korchak on the right side with Lauzon. Rookie kid who is probably he's probably going to be a lot like what Lauzon is. This would be the weak link, though, right now. He's 24 years old, and he's just figuring things out. But he has a lot of tools. He has a lot of he has been getting better every single year, and they've been bringing him along very slowly. It reminds me of like Forbert for LA, how he progressed every single year. He's a damn hard worker. They love him. They love his attitude. He's just a great character guy, and he's big again at 6'4", 201. Not getting any smaller. I think this is an excellent team. As long as they can keep as long as they can be mentally strong, I think this team could do a lot of damage. I'm not done yet. We'll talk about Aiden Hill. Definitely a good enough goaltender to be playing here. He's probably about maybe 10 to 12 as far as number one goaltenders in the league. But when you're talking about this kind of defense and this kind of forwards to play like they do, that's all you need in the playoffs. To tell you the honest truth, and people won't say much about this, in Florida, Bobrovsky's actually a little overrated. He does make big saves and all of those sort of things like that when you need him. But if you were to pepper him like on other teams, people would not think Bobrovsky is like one of the best goaltenders in the world. I know he's won 2 cups. Perlo, what are you talking about? Again, that's the benefit of having those top 9 3-zone defensive forwards. They help out a lot, a lot, a lot. They help goaltenders out and they help defense out. They went and got Akira Schmid, who I've always been interested in this kid, man. And they have what's his name now? Sean Burke, who is called the goaltender whisperer there in Vegas. And he, for instance, turned Aiden Hill into what he is today. Was it just him? But it's not, no, but it does seem like everything that Burke touches, besides maybe Samsonov, turns to gold. And Akira Schmid has like great size. He has great reflexes. He reminds me a lot of what Vejmelka was when he came in the league. He's just got to learn how to compact his style a little bit, be able to learn how to know where the puck is all the time, find the puck in traffic and all that kind of stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas turns this guy into something special. I'll tell you the honest truth. I think he could very well do that. As far as depth is concerned, they got Holtz and Cole Schwint. Cole Schwint did very well last year. Good for him. Guy's fought his way up through the minors and really performed a good role there in the fourth line. So if there's injuries, they're not afraid of having a Cole Schwint in there. Alexander Holtz, he just doesn't seem to be turning out the way anybody has wanted him to turn out. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think they're trying to recreate him into a third, fourth line guy. But he does have playoff experience, and if injuries happen, he can fill in no problems. So not bad. And then they went out and got an interesting player in Cole Reinhardt from the Ottawa, I think it was the Ottawa Senators, who, I don't know, every time I watched him play, I felt like he had this potential to be something very good. It's just he hasn't found his niche yet. So we'll see if he does. He's got a lot of tools, but he's not it's hard for him to be a top 6 guy, but he's got a lot of speed. If he can just find his niche on a team, if he can really learn from the team around him and become like a fast player on the fourth line or a guy that you can put in the lineup anywhere, learn the system really well, I think he could be a really good player. I thought it was a really nice move. As far as defense, they went and got Dylan Coughlin, who's been, a long-time AHL guy. He fills in roles. His skating isn't very good, but he can play if necessary. And Ben Hutton, I still love this guy. 32 years old. On a lot of teams, he would be a 5-6. He's a really good player. He holds out with Vegas. He doesn't go anywhere. But I think that's pretty good depth just with those 2 guys alone. So here's my prediction for Vegas. My prediction is they make the finals and or win the cup. And I believe they win the Pacific Division as well. The only thing that would keep me off winning the Pacific Division is if they get ahead, they probably will start taking it down a little bit because saving themselves for the playoffs, and you'll see guys not being in the lineup if they're a little bit injured, let them rest and all that kind of stuff like that, and then they might end up a little lower. But I just think this team is far and away the best team in the Pacific, especially for the regular season. So give me first in the Pacific, possibly first in that Western Division, because they're going to have, that's the other thing, they're playing like Vancouver a lot, Calgary a lot, San Jose a lot, teams that are pretty easy division to be able to be successful in, compared to like, say, a Colorado who's in a much tougher division. All right, that's my full 42, everybody. I hope you enjoyed all the fine frolic. I certainly did. Catch me, go to Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Tap that like button if you like it. All that kind of stuff. And be watching out for Puck in Deep, the podcast that brings all the frolic in the land.